We're going to look at 3 different Telecaster wiring strategies. And I'm going to play the guitars first. When I get to the unique thing about that wiring, I'll play with that a little bit more so we can see what it does. So in other words, there's some special things. When I get to the tone thing, I'm going to play with the tone a little bit. But I'm going to play the guitars first. Then we'll come back and we'll look at the guitars, talk about them, and talk about the strategy, or the wiring strategies. And then I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and that sort of thing. And when I come back and we look at them, I'm going to tap them so that you can see exactly what the pickups are doing. Because a lot of people don't seem to do that when they do these kind of videos. They don't tap the pickup so that you can hear exactly what's going on. Anyways, here we go. We're going to get started on this. So I'm going to always go from the front back to the bridge. All right, first guitar we looked at was the blonde Telecaster here. It has Lindy Fralin pickups in it. And I'm going straight into a late 50s tweed champ with no effects, no nothing. It's chord into the chord, guitar into the amp, and I'm set on 4.5 right now. Just going into this microphone right here. So this microphone is picking up my voice and everything. Okay. All right. So your standard Telecaster, most of you guys all know about this. Volume, tone, 3-position switch. So the first one is this pickup. Nothing back there. Middle gets both pickups. Back gets the bridge pickup. Tone works on all of those. That's pretty obvious. Let's go up here. Let's do tone. Oh, these are not Lindy Fralins. These are Fender Relic Telecasters. The Fralins are on that guitar. Sorry about that. Tone. Hard to get in between the strings on there. There you go. Tone. Okay? Standard setup. Alright. Everybody knows how to use one of these. What this gives you is you got tone control on everything. So you have your standard tones. Now a lot of people, for instance, try to get that neck pickup. They have problems with the neck pickup and they want it bright as they can. But let's discuss that a little bit more when we get over to this guitar, because it has a no-tone neck pickup, and I have some definite things to say about that. Personally, I like having the tone on the neck pickup because I used it for that Texas, for the Western swing stuff. There are times when I want that fat, almost muffled sound, arch top guitar sound. And generally when I'm playing, I'm the only guitar player. I'm a guitar, a drummer, a bass. That's it. Sometimes not even a drummer. Sometimes it's a guitar and bass, and that's it. So I don't mind having that fat rhythm sound, and I want that for that rhythm sound. And it also sounds really good for leads in Western swing. That's a nice fat sound, and that's with the tone all the way off. So let's bring the tone all the way up. It's a little too snappy for me, for a Bob Wills type sound. And I want that tone almost all the way off. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. That's almost a little too snappy. That's what I would want. So I like having that tone. I like having the tone for the middle for the same reason, because it does give you, it gives you that, you're getting the bridge in there, it's getting brighter for sure. How does this compare to the neck all the way up? That's poppier. That's a good lead sound for Western swing. The middle with the tone almost all the way off. I'm getting the bridge pickup in there, which gives it a little bit more of the snap, but it's not a tone shaping snap. In other words, when you use the tone control, it actually shapes the tone, takes the trebles away from it. And when we're in the middle, that's not what's happening. I'm just getting a fuller sound. I'm getting the treble off of the bridge. I'm getting this, but I've got the tone rolled off. So it's a different sort of sound than if you're on the front pickup with the tone up. Different thing. It's just different. You can hear it. I like that for Western swing. See, that may be a little bit muffled, I could get by with that. That middle sounds good. Little too snappy? Anyway, your standard one gives you some good options. Now, when I go to the bridge, here's full on, and this is way too snappy for Western swing. But it's good for Dwight Yoakam, When you go to the bass strings, it's not too bad having that treble all the way up and being on the bridge. When you get up in here, it gets too snappy for me. But treble all the way up on the bridge works really good on this bass string. great for that. You might want to roll it off maybe just a little bit, you know. Let's see how that is. Yeah, that's a pretty classic Telecaster punchy sound. I don't feel like it's too ice picky. These pickups work good. I've got this is wired as close. It's got the good stuff in it. Okay, so I don't feel that's too ice picky. I think this guitar has a lot of advantages, and we all know how to use a regular Telecaster. So why even bother with anything else? But I'll tell you why. So let's get one of the other ones here, and I'll show you what I like about it and what I don't like about that. But if I had this, you know, like I said, like I've already said 5-6 times, we all know how to work this guitar. We know how to move the tones, move the tones. You do have the option of doing like the, you know, the Roy Buchanan, Danny Gatton kind of thing, where you wiggle your tone pot and you get the wah-wah effect and that kind of thing. I don't use that much because that's just not my style of playing so much. But you do have that option. Let's hear what it sounds like if you just leave the tone alone, because this is an important point. So pay attention to this one, because this is gonna show up in the other guitars. We're gonna leave the tone alone. We're gonna leave the volume, and all we're gonna do is switch back and forth on the selector switch. So I'm gonna use the D and the A to get like a D chord. Okay? There's some sound differences going on right there just by moving the pickup selector without touching anything else. And that's what I want. I want to be able to move that pickup selector and get different sounds right there without touching anything else, so that then I can use the tone to then shape the new sound that I moved into. Okay? Let's get another guitar. Here's the second guitar we looked at, and this is the one with the Lindy Fralin pickups in it. And I got those on trade for work. I put them in this guitar, and they were fabulous. They just sound so good in this guitar. I've had them in that blonde Tele there, and they didn't sound as good. They like this guitar, and this is a heavy guitar. It's got a B-bender in it, and all I can tell you is that Lindy Fralins are the best pickups I've run in this guitar. So this one is wired with a no-tone neck. So that means you have a no-tone here. You have these two pickups, and you don't have any tone, and then the only tone you have is on the bridge. So let's run through the tappings for that so you can hear what it sounds like. So tone doesn't do anything right here. Neck pickup, nothing. Middle, gets both of them. Well, that's hot, isn't it? Tone doesn't do anything here. Nothing. Now I've moved to the bridge, and we get just the bridge pickup. And now the tone's working. Okay? First thing I'm going to do here is what I just did on that blonde Tele. I'm going to go back and forth on the switch positions, and obviously the tone doesn't do anything on 2 out of 3 of those positions. I'm going to leave it all the way up right here for the first pass through, and we're going to do this thing. I thought this brought the tone better than anything else, than the other. Let's mess with the tone. We'll roll it down, make it just up just a little bit. Same thing. Here's what I don't like about this. Listen to the neck and the bridge. We're gonna go bypass the middle. Let me play something on that so you can hear it in context, okay? We're on the neck. Neck, no tone. Over to the bridge. Tone is about halfway on the bridge. I'm going to roll the tone off on the bridge a little bit. What I don't like about, here's the middle. What I don't like about this system, I just started this one the other day, and what I don't like about it is that you don't get tone on 2 of the 3 positions, and honestly the tone being on the bridge pickup is not that useful of a feature to me because I can't get the Western swing fat sound on this. You see, I'm gonna go up here to the bridge. I'm sorry, the neck. Too bright. It's too bright. Passable for that, but I have no tone on this. Yeah, that's both of them. Definitely don't like that. That's tone all the way off. Woo! Boy, that lost a lot up there. I would want to be changing my tone, my capacitor on that, because that really bled off a lot on that. Just up there. And so that's why I don't like that setup, because when I rolled the tone off to get that fat sound, I lost too much treble on here. So I have to go back in and mess with the cap value some, and maybe change from a 47 to a 23 or something like that, and mess with that some. But this guitar, this setup just doesn't work for me. And I know a lot of people like having the no tone on the neck, but to me, it sounded too much like the bridge with some tone rolled off. I couldn't get a fat Western swing sound out of it. And I didn't like the amount of tone variation I got going from the switches. So when I move that switch, I want to go from this tone to this radically different tone over here. So, 2 big changes between the bridge and the neck. I don't mind if the neck is actually a little bit muddy, because then the middle position sounds really good. You get the bridge going into that mud, and it's just, I like having big differences, which we will see when we get to the blue guitar. So this isn't working for me. Now, the more I play this and the more I think about it, I would think if I really wanted a no tone pot on this is a place where I would really look into putting a no load tone pot. And the no load, of course, when you go up all the way, it's got the conductor is cut out so that boom, you end up in empty space and you have no load at all on the pot. And you get almost exactly the same thing. There might be some very small difference because it's still wider pot, but I think sound-wise it's going to be pretty much exactly the same. So that no load on the tone, I'm not a big fan of no load pots, but in this case, if you put a no load in this thing and then still wired it like the blonde Telecaster over here, you would get all that tone variation. You would have a tone pot that you could use on any position, and then you could also go to the no load on any position, which I can see that, especially on that middle. Going to the middle and then going to a no load, you'd get the clarity of both pickups. Guess what? That's what we got on the blue Telecaster there. But to me, I think that would be a lot better setup for me than this current position. Well, I don't have any tone control at all except on the bridge, and I don't like it on the bridge. If I could not get a no-load pot, I think I would almost flip the system around so that my tone control was actually on the neck and I had the bridge wide open. Because then I know when I go to the bridge, it's going to get, it's going to be snappy, and I'm ready for that. I might, at that point, put a very small capacitor on the bridge to the switch so that it would be an automatic treble bleed, which is what I got on the blue Tele in reverse. I think I could almost what I'm saying here is there's a certain tone where you roll the tone off when you go to the bridge, and you don't like it wide open most of the time. I mean, that's pretty good there. But if you rolled it off just a little bit, then when you get up the neck, I could stand that. So I might use a capacitor from that pickup on the switch to preset it to that amount of tone change. And then that way when I flip to the rear, I would just automatically go to that, and I would know I would have that tone, and I'm not going to vary so much from that. When I got to the middle, I'd still have the same thing, but the neck then would be wide open because I'd have a no-load tone pot on here, and I would kick it off. So then I would have this one wide open, and I would have the bridge knocked down just a little bit. I can't get that right now, you see. So when I combine them, the bridge is a little too snappy, and then I wish I could tone it down just a little bit. So then when I got to the neck, I would have the full tone control, but it would be on a no load, so I could have 0 if I wanted to, but then I could also roll it off and get that fat western swing sound, which I cannot get on this guitar right now. So I think I would be happier with a no load tone pot on here and a small capacitor on the bridge pickup to automatically knock it to a preset value. And then I would use the switch to balance in between the two pickups, and I would still have tone at that point, so I could still work with it. Actually, if I left it like this, if I switched it around, I would have the tone on the neck, I would have a no tone in the middle, and I would have a preset tone on the bridge. So let me take that back. There's two things I'm talking about at the same time here. And one option would be a no-load tone pot where you could click it in there and you could have all 3 settings set to no load on the tone pot. Then you could use your tone as normal, just like the normal Telecaster. But the second option that I'm talking about is where I actually flip this around, where I move this tone to the neck and put a preset cap on the bridge, and then that way I would flip to the neck and I would have full tone control there. I could get the fat western swing sound. When I moved to the middle, I would have what I currently have, which was no tone load on the middle, which is good. I mean, that sounds all right, I'm happy with that tone, Yeah. I'm happy with that tone. That sounds good. That's the best sound on this guitar right now. All right, and then when I went to the bridge pickup, I would have a preset tone this would give me pretty much what this is right here, and I could vary it. So I have the tone rolled off about 25% maybe. That's very tolerable, and it's definitely punchy. So you know when you're going there, you're going to get that punchy sound. Definitely, I could definitely use that. So either of those options, no load tone pot or tone on the neck and a preset bridge position, I would like either one of those options better than this one, which is no tone on the neck and tone on the bridge. So I don't like this setup. It's gonna go away as soon as. All right, here we have the third guitar, and this one been in another video already. This has got a blender on it. So this is a Broadcaster blend pot, which was one of the very early Telecaster wiring strategies, and I thought I would play with it and see what I thought about it. It's scratchy. What this does is this is the blender pot. It blends the neck and the bridge together at whatever ratio you want. There is no tone setup on here, so you have volume and you have a blender. But when you're in the front position and it goes to this pickup, it has a preset tone cap on there. So it has a preset capacitor that drops this down to a certain tone, just as if you rolled the volume pot. When this is in the middle, it's the neck wide open with no tone. So that gives you the no tone neck. Then when you get over here in the back position, that's when the blender comes in and you can get all bridge, all neck. Except that I don't have a no load on this one. So there's always a little bit of neck and a little bit of bridge no matter which way you go. But that's perfectly fine in this case because I don't want to isolate the neck because I've already got isolated neck tone, and I don't really want to isolate the bridge because this bridge is really, really punchy, and I'm always going to roll that off a little bit. So by having a little bit of neck in here all the time, it's all right because it's a good sound, and that's what matters is whether or not it's a good sound. So here's what it taps out like. So here's go to the and give it some volume here. And remember, this is with a tone cap preset. Nothing. Gonna go here. This is the neck wide open. Let's compare those. Okay, here's the blender. Right now it's about 50%. Here's all neck. Or all bridge. All bridge. A little bit of neck. Some of this neck is in there. Flip it the other way. Neck. A little bit of bridge. It's tapping pretty loud now, but in real life it doesn't come in. That's pretty loud. Flip it. Okay, so there's always some blend going on. 50% right there. Now, I like this setup a lot on this guitar because I can go to the front, and especially with this P90 in here. This is a Duncan Fat Cat, and this is a Seymour Duncan Jerry Donahue on the bridge. This is a nice setup for this. The Donahue can stand up to that Fat Cat. But when you go up here to that preset, you get that big bassy sound. And it's a P90, so you're going to find a P90 in Western swing guitars, like an ES-125 and ES-150, guitars in that range. I had an ES-125, a 1946 ES-125, got a P90 in the front. So this is very typical of a Western swing sort of sound. Of course, with a solid body electric, more sustained, but my hands are cold. That's a great sound. And all I have to do is flip that pickup and I got it, you know. So this gives me 3 usable, very usable tones, sounds, right away, just flipping the switch around. I've lost my tone control, but when I come to the back and start playing with the balance on these things, I get tone. So if you listen to this, it's not a true tone shaping, but it is changing the tone of it. So you can still get that kind of effect in there. And you can change how much of that neck is coming into here, which is going to affect the tone of the bridge. So let's play with that just a little bit. I already played with it a lot on the other video, but just a quick example here. So all the way up. There's no question that's a bridge, right? You know? Let's roll back to all the way. Now that's mostly neck, but it's still got a little bit of bridge in it. So that sounds different from this. That's the neck all by itself. No tone, neck, clean neck. So the clean neck sounds different from the blender all the way to the neck, you see, because I'm getting the bridge in there. So these two tones don't overlap each other, which I don't want. I don't want tones that overlap. So going from here to the blend, which is mostly neck, you're going to have this sound. You can hear the bridge in that. You know, you can hear that snap up on the high end. But this still sounds good too. That's powerful. So that's 2 different distinct tones right there. And then if I bring that up, leave it midway, now I really get some different tones. So here's the neck. That's pretty snarly. 3 tones, flip switch. I like that. So I like the blend. Even though I don't have a tone, I do have a tone on the neck. So in other words, I'll have the neck wide open, and then I have the neck on a preset tone. And that's why I thought that I would prefer that on the B-Bender Telecaster. Instead of having a tone control on the bridge, which I don't like, I would rather have a preset tone on the bridge and then have tone control on the neck so that I could get that fat sound and I could get the clean sound and that sort of thing. So this guitar told me that I would prefer to have tone control on the neck. I would at least have a preset tone on the neck, you know. I actually had this wiring set up on that B-Bender Telecaster before I decided I wanted to do this video and compare all 3 of these systems. And it worked good on there. It was good. I didn't miss the tone too much. But then as I started playing and started thinking about that no tone, no load tone pot, I thought, you know, that might be the best. That might be a really good option because then you would still have everything and you would also have the no load option, which I think adds something to the equation. And that I don't feel the B bender is adding anything. I feel like I'm losing something compared to these two guitars. On this one, on the blender guitar, I feel like I have added something because there's so much difference between this P90 and this Telecaster pickup that having that blender to blend them in and change the ratio of that sound is a bonus. It's fun. I like it a lot on this guitar. And then I have the preset bassy sound, which is probably about as bassy as I'd really ever want to go, but it's where I would want to go. And being able to flip to that and get it immediately, bam, is nice. Then you get to the middle position where it's just the P90 all by itself and clean, clear, and it's got some real snarl to it. So I feel like the blender really works good if you have two distinctly different pickup sounds. This and that are completely distinctly different sounds, and the blender lets you then mix in those as you want to. So you get this massive array of sounds. You still get sort of a tone effect by blending in more into the neck and taking away, you're not taking away, but you're putting a bass over the top of the Telecaster's shrillness. So you're bringing it in like that and filling it in. You're bringing the whole thing up rather than dialing out treble. So when you use a tone control, you're dialing out the treble, and that's what makes it muddy. And when I use the blend control, it never gets muddy. It's just different degrees of snarl and snap. So that's my conclusion on here. Is I think the blonde Telecaster with its pretty standard setup is perfectly fine. I mean, it really is. We all know how to use it. We know how to get sounds out of it. It gives you a lot of sounds. It's easy to do. The only disadvantage to it is that if you wanted to jump from the bright, snappy neck pickup to the big, fat Western swing sound in one sweep, then you're going to have to make two changes. You're going to have to move the switch and you're going to have to move the tone, which is not a big deal. You see guys flipping tone knobs all the time, you know. But I'm just saying that's a two-step process, no big deal. On this guitar, I can go from the snappy Telecaster to the fat Western swing sound, wham. Flip the switch and I'm there, and it's consistent. So on this guitar, I have 3 usable sounds that are there immediately. On the Telecaster, standard, I had 3 usable sounds too. And then I had the option to play with the tone a little bit more. So that was the winner. The one over here with the neck, with no tone, it's just not working for me. I've got one good sound, and that is both pickups blended together. When I had that, it was okay, but I wish I had a tone on it. I wish I had some sort of tone shaping. I do not like the tone on the bridge. It's just too limited. Setting it to a capacitor which fixed, like this one, in reverse, I'd be happy with that. And then I would have my tone on the neck. And I could live with that tone in the middle. It'd be like a Stratocaster, stock Stratocaster, where you don't have any tone in the middle. You don't have any tone on the bridge. The way I have my Strat set, I don't have any tone in the middle. And I know I can live with that. And in fact, I know when I go to that sound, I'm going to get a clear, no tone load sound. So I could live with that if I flipped it forward. Right now, having the neck wide open and the tone on the bridge is my least favorite option. So, all right, so those are some things to think about, maybe. I know I'm going to play with the Bender Telecaster a little bit more. I'm really happy with the blue, and it's fun. And it's fun having that sound that I didn't have before, which was the blend, and also having that preset neck position, because I use that sound a lot. I use the preset and I use the open a lot. And then the blend is just, cake on top. So I like that. I like the blonde. So hopefully you got something out of this. I'm not much of an electric guitar player. I just like to fool with these things, but maybe it'll give you something to think about. In any case, you pick up a guitar, and here's the guitar, and that's what it is, and you play it. You find out what kind of sounds it makes, And maybe it gives you some sort of inspiration because it makes some sort of sound or tone that another guitar didn't, and you learn to take that sound and use it for something. And that's why people have multiple guitars, is because the guitars give them the inspiration to do something, which is totally valid, you know. Totally valid. All right, see you later.